This is not working. Oh man. This is horrible. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. This is so crazy. This is so freaking crazy. This is so freaking crazy, man. I'm so upset. I'm so upset right now. Man, listen, this is a live stream that I'm about to do right now. This what I'm sharing with you guys with right now is for the purpose of the people that are watching this on the replay. I don't know what's going on with my technology, with my setup over here, but for the second time in a row, I have scheduled a live stream and I keep getting knocked off for some reason when I click the go live button in the live stream that I'm scheduling. And it's throwing me off because people obviously will see the scheduled live stream and they might even click notified to so that they can be notified of it when I go live. And for the second time in a row, I go live and there's a problem with going live. So then I have to end the live stream and start a new one. And I already spent a few minutes making sure the title was right, making sure the thumbnail was right, making sure the description had in it what I wanted it to have in it. And every time I get knocked from a stream like that, in an effort to get right back on, I get right back on and, there's no thumbnail. Luckily, I got a chance to throw one on here, but I didn't have a chance to throw a title in here, none of that stuff. And it's weird. For the second time this has happened. So I apologize about that to anybody that really, saw that I scheduled this post ahead of time or this video ahead of time and wanted to see it. And, hopefully you can find it again. From what I understand, every time I go live, you guys should get it in your notification. So hopefully you don't have a problem, a huge issue with this. But I'm working on it on my end. I hate starting late. I hit the go live now button exactly at 3 o'clock. And again, for the second time that happened. So again, I apologize about that, family. But nonetheless, those of you that have found this live stream and decided to hang out with me here this Saturday to discuss what I'm going to discuss in this live stream, I appreciate you guys being here. This was kind of not premeditated, basically. I didn't plan on doing a live stream today, Saturday, but something came across my desk per se, that I wanted to go on and talk about and do a video about. My time is very tight, as probably anybody's time is right now. So the best way for me to do content right now, as opposed to spending time to actually go through the production of content and getting a camera set up and all of that good stuff, and different angles and editing and all of that stuff, just easier just to go live right here, just like I am right now, produce the content, and then I got a different plan for it after that. So appreciate you guys being here. Again, I'm not really. I guess Let me know. If you're here. Feel free to speak up. I'll shout you out real quick in the chats. But I want to get started with this because I do got some information that I want to share with you guys that have made the live and you guys that are going to see this on replay. So let me know if you're here. Drop me a comment down in the chat. I'm having an issue all the way around, man. I'm on my other phone right now. I'm trying to pull up the chats in the other phone. It's not pulling up. You know what? Sometimes technical difficulties are overwhelming, and I'm a YouTuber and I'm technical and I'm a truck driver, so I ain't got time for all these technical issues right now. I want to share something in this video again, a perspective on a discussion that's happening right now, pretty prevalently, or a lot in the trucking community. And I'm having all these technical issues, so feel free to comment in the chats. I have it set up so that the comments will show on the replay. When you do lives, a lot of the times the comments won't show on the replay version, the live comments. So I got it set up so that the live comments are also going to show on the replay. So you guys that want to comment on different aspects of what I'm saying, please feel free to. I don't want to interrupt my thoughts and what I'm trying to share with you guys on this video by reading the comments. This is like I'm just doing too much at one time. So I'm just going to focus on giving the content. Once this is over, I will go back and check on and read your comments. But, a lot of the times in these live streams, the people that are watching, you guys do a pretty good job of, asking and answering each other's questions. So, all right. So, question of Whether brokers are the real problem in trucking or not, all right? I see a lot of videos on YouTube right now truck drivers, generally speaking, right now, generally speaking, are pretty seem to be pretty pissed off with freight brokers. Okay, and you know, I like a lot of you have probably have seen a lot of videos where truckers are basically saying, "Hey, listen, we got to do something about these brokers. They're taking ruining, they serve no purpose." These are some of the arguments that I'm hearing that I'm going to question in this video. But you know, this is the stuff that I'm hearing. You know, brokers have they have no vested interest. It's not their truck, right? It's not their freight. They don't really have much overhead. This is what I'm hearing, generally speaking, from truckers, from owner operators, from small fleet owners, from carriers. This is what I'm hearing, and generally speaking, they seem to be really pissed off at brokers right now, and that is all right. I reconnected. All right, I went out for a second. I'm having issues. I apologize about that, family. But I would assume that the argument that brokers are the main problem in trucking is so prevalent that even new drivers that really don't even know much about how that part of the industry. This sucks. This really sucks. I apologize, family, about the connection issues. I know this is killing the live stream experience. Please pardon me. I really don't know what's going on. Like, same internet connection that I had all this time. It's supposed to have a pretty strong one. But what I was saying was, it's the same thing as, you know, sometimes the older generations, they will pass down their beliefs to the newer generations. And some of those beliefs may be relevant. And I'm talking about in life in general right now, not just in trucking, but some of those beliefs will be relevant to the new generation. And some of those beliefs won't be relevant. They're not important. They're not valid, I should say. They're not necessarily valid beliefs anymore. So, you know, as a trucker, I'm going to question some of these arguments that drivers, that owners, that carriers, that small fleet owners are. I'm going to question some of these things that I hear from the community at large. Now, before I get into some of my specific questions on this subject, because I got a lot to say on this subject. Again, if I need straightening out, please feel free, you know, to straighten me out in the comments. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'll be honest with you. I don't have experience working with brokers. The way that I do wood chips, the way that we do wood chips, it doesn't necessarily work like the drivers, like the carriers that are dealing with different brokers on a regular basis. So I'll admit to you before I get into this, I don't have much experience in this area. So before anybody comments, you know, well, this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's admitted that. So his argument is really not valid. What he say really doesn't have any merit. Before I think I'm the perfect person to comment on this, because while I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily involved or immersed in the broker transactions that you guys are going through, I feel I do understand trucking. I feel I do understand economics. Okay, I feel like I do understand those things enough. And also I'm a truck driver, right? So if I'm a truck driver and I'm hearing the gripes and the arguments of other truck drivers, and even me as a truck driver don't necessarily understand your gripe, then, you know, if I'm a truck driver and I don't understand your gripe, then it's obviously other people out here that don't understand your gripe as well. So truckers want to be heard. Owner operators, carriers that are moving freight all around the country want to be heard. I think a problem with that is the argument is not cohesive, I believe. And in my opinion, some of the arguments that drivers, that truckers are bringing to the public, they just don't make sense. And in this video, I'm gonna give my perspective from a trucker's view of some of the things that I think we need to tighten up on as a community if we want to try to get some of these things that we're looking that truck drivers are looking to get changed. All right, so I'm gonna start off here with my opinion or my perspective. As far as the broker, again, we hear drivers say all the time, owners say all of the time, or I hear it all of the time. You know, brokers are the problem. We need to break the brokers. They're making too much. They shouldn't make over 5 or 10% on loads that they're brokering. They're taking too much from the driver, from the trucker, from the carrier. I personally do not believe that brokers. It doesn't make that argument doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as a logical argument that brokers are the main problem in trucking, or it just doesn't make sense to me. And here's why. Here's a couple of bullet points that I'm thinking on this subject that to me as a truck driver don't really make sense. It doesn't make sense to me when I hear that argument that every broker operates in that way. Let me say that another way. It doesn't make sense to me with that argument that there are no brokers that operate with integrity and merit. Doesn't make sense to me that there are no brokers that operate with that system. It doesn't make sense, and I've heard truckers say this. Doesn't make sense to me that all brokers are scamming the drivers or the carriers. It just doesn't make sense to me. What makes more sense to me in a capitalistic society is that someone would see that and I appreciate the comments that are coming in. You guys keep them coming in. Again, I don't want to get off the subject too much. I just want to kind of stick to what I'm going to share with you guys here. I will read the comments once the video is done. But you guys comment, and you guys that are here, check out the comments, because a lot of the people that leave comments in these lives have very valid points, okay? But what makes more sense to me as far as the broker issue that I'm talking about is that some company, some individual would identify that as a hole in the marketplace. Okay, all brokers are operating unscrupulously. All brokers are operating without integrity. So we can easily, as a broker, if I want to be one, if I see that as a hole in the marketplace, I should be able to fairly easily get in the marketplace and operate with integrity if nobody else is, and all the business will come to me. That's the way capitalism works. And again, it doesn't make sense to me that at least some truck driver or some individual that has sympathy and understands the perspective of the truck driver, it doesn't make sense that that individual wouldn't say, you know what, I'm a driver now, but I see opportunity on the brokerage side. So I'm gonna start a brokerage, and I know I can get, I know I can find work or for trucks. So I know I can get trucks to move the freight because drivers will believe in me, truckers will believe in me, carriers will believe in me because they know my background and my affiliation with trucking. And I'll make sure I always treat my drivers right. I'll make sure I always treat my owner operators right, my carriers right. And that'll keep business coming to me. To me, that is the foundation of how business operates in a capitalistic society. There's always people like me and you that are waiting in the wings. Oh my gosh. This is absolutely horrible. Again, family, I'm so sorry about the issue that I'm having, the technical issues that I'm having. I know this is killing the live stream experience, but after I get done with this live stream, I'll take time to try to dig into figure out what's going on with my connection. Again, like I said earlier at the top of the video, this is the second live stream that I've scheduled. And then when I hit the go live button, I had connection issues. And so I had to end the live stream and start another one. I really apologize about this. Again, I know it's killing the experience. Just please bear with me. I do believe that truck drivers that want to know more about this issue need to absolutely hear this video. So if you can bear with the technical issues and stick with me, I definitely believe you'll get some value from this video. So I believe where I was at was I was saying that we know that the brokerage industry, it might be ran by big companies, but I'll say again, it doesn't make sense to me that in a capitalistic society, somebody that's on the trucker side wouldn't say, you know what, there's a hole in the market here. No brokers are operating with integrity. We're going to go into that space and we're going to operate with integrity. And like, watch this. Here's another thing I want to bring up on this subject. We know that all aspects of trucking is supply and demand. Again, it doesn't make sense that no brokers understand that, right? If we operate with integrity as a brokerage, we will always be in demand. Period. End of story. All right. Everybody can't be greedy on the broker side. So that's the first thing I want to point out. To me, why the argument that brokers are the main, like they're the issue in trucking. I hear that argument too many times, I feel, from carriers and owner operators, to the point that it almost doesn't, to me, and I'm saying this as a trucker, it doesn't really make logical sense. Okay. I was watching a video just a few days ago from a behavioral psychologist, and he breaks down the body language of people. And he was making a point. He was saying something to the effect of, when you want to counter a person's argument, when you want to push back or resist on a person's argument, you're better off, instead of just harping on the negative in regards to their idea or what they're doing. You're better off to take a more logical approach, which basically means if you're going to point out the negative points, you also want to point out the positive points or the good points. And there's a reason why you want to do that. We're talking human psychology. Pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you, okay? When a viewer is listening to these arguments, it's unconscious, it's subconscious. When a viewer is listening to the arguments and a viewer, I apologize, family. Again, I really apologize about that. I'm tempted to move. I really apologize about that. I'm tempted to move somewhere right now. I gotta, if this happens again, I'm just going. I gotta keep going through this. But kind of slipped my mind what I was talking about, the actual specifics of what I was talking about. But again, I think I was still kind of harping on the point that, it doesn't make sense that and no one has to fill that gap. It makes sense that people would fill that gap. It makes sense that companies would fill that gap. So I guess what I'm saying is, it makes sense to me that brokers that operate with integrity do have a place in the market. I know what I was saying, actually. Let me go back to what I was saying. I was speaking about the behavioral psychologist that breaks down people's behavior. But he was saying that when you're giving pushback in an argument, it's better to give for the person listening to the arguments sides. If you're going to harp on the negative, you may want to accentuate the positive as well. Because when a viewer is listening to you just harp on the negative, the viewer questions whether your argument is actually valid and it has some merit behind it, or whether your argument is just biased. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if you guys understand that. Here's what I'm saying. When I hear truckers talking about how they feel about brokers, generally speaking, the argument is so one-sided that, to me, even as a truck driver, the argument doesn't necessarily sound valid. The argument sounds like a person has a vendetta against a broker. And I know any driver that has ever spoken on this subject before will probably say, no, I don't have a vendetta against brokers. But I'm just saying, it sounds like you have a vendetta against brokers when all you're doing is harping on, man, brokers are scamming drivers and they don't need to be here and they have no vested interest in moving the load. It's not their freight. It's not their truck. They don't have any overhead. So, they're taking too much money. Like there's no argument given to the value that a broker that operates with integrity brings to the market. And my logic tells me that there's more of those brokers that operate with integrity than there are that don't. That's what my logic tells me. Again, family, if I'm off on this subject, please feel free to let me know and straighten me out. I've admitted already, this is not a world that I am truly immersed in. I don't work a lot with brokers, like I already said. But because of that, I feel like I'm the perfect one to speak on this discussion, because I have no dog in this fight. You get what I'm saying? Like my objective is not to get brokers to operate differently like it is most truck drivers. And on the same note, I'm not like a broker either. And I'm taking up for the brokers. I don't know any brokers. I got no relationship with brokers. So while I don't know, I'll admit that I may not know, I may not have much experience day-to-day in-person experience dealing with this subject. Again, I feel like I'm the perfect one to speak about it because I understand the profession, I understand trucking, I understand economics, and I'm not biased on either side. And that kind of validates the point that I just now made about making an argument or giving pushback. You want to you got to speak about it on both sides for people to be willing to listen at your argument and subconsciously say, what he's saying might brokers are damaging the industry, that unscrupulous brokers are damaging the industry, then it may suit you better to deliberately point out the benefit of good brokers. good brokers that operate the right way, because the market needs those. You would have to be honest with yourself about that. Most drivers don't want to take the time to find their own loads and all of that good stuff. This is where a broker can help you, from my understanding. So if you want people to listen to you, drivers that have this issue, in my opinion, you could get heard more and your arguments would be taken more seriously if you were able to point out both sides. Hey, the positive side that he's saying, we know that exists. We didn't know the negative side that he was saying exists, but if we've accepted that he knows what he's talking about in relationship to the good things that he pointed out, then I might be willing to accept that he knows what he's talking about in relationship to the bad things that this driver or this what this is gonna do. I really don't know. Again, I apologize about this. So, another thing about on that broker subject, and I got a couple more bullet points I want to hit on here as well. So, family, please stick with me. Again, if you guys are getting any type of value from this, don't forget to smash the like button for me as well. All right, as usual. But another point that comes to my mind as a driver about this subject that I don't necessarily understand, or that I keep asking myself, when I hear drivers, owners, carriers talk about the brokers make too much money, they don't have any overhead. Again, while that may be a valid argument, I don't know how much overhead, a broker has. And I don't know how much a cut a broker takes or should take. I hear drivers saying they shouldn't take over 10%. But, we used to call that, back in the days, counting somebody else's money. That's what we used to call that. Like, why you all in my pockets, bro? That's what we used to call that. So when I hear truckers speak on how much brokers are making and how much it costs them to run their business, again, if I'm educate me on this as well, right? I use these videos for me to learn as well. But right, like it just doesn't make sense, right? Like why count somebody else's money? Okay, this is how we used to deal with that back in the days, right? Like, if you want to be in another man's position, then go be in that position, which leads me to the next point. Like if you don't like how he's making more money, then why not just go be a broker? Why not just go open a brokerage? To me, doubt it, right? And you some complaining about the way things are. Right? And a lot of stuff in trucking, man, it seems to me that some things just are the way they are. So I understand that we can, with enough voices, we can push for change. Anybody can. I do get that. I do understand that. But on the flip, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Okay. Now again, that don't mean fight to keep the things that are important in trucking. That absolutely does not mean that. But it's like, hey, if this is the trucking game, the driving game, the owning a truck game, the fleet owner game, and this is the broker game, let me just go open a brokerage, right? Let me just go do what I see where the money is. That's, again, to me, when I'm hearing that argument, I'm asking myself, let's have a thing, just owners and fleet owners, but truckers in general have a thing where they don't they don't like change, right? They don't like change. They want to keep doing things the way that they were. This is another part of this argument that doesn't make sense. Change, generally speaking, not saying specifically, what I see as a truck driver, and there is no keeping things the same. You are fighting against the natural order of things. You're not fighting against people. You ain't fighting against Congress. You're fighting. Things happen. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't fight for change, because you should if that's what you believe in. But I'm just saying that, generally speaking, it seems to me that truckers don't like to change, and a lot of us are immersed in the fight to keep things the same. And if generally speaking, for life in general to move on, things have to change and continue and evolve. Trucking is not devoid of that. Trucking is not gonna go around that. So I mean, the ones that are doing the trucker protest, and doing the interstate shutdowns. I listen to a lot of Asian Mai's videos, Alex videos, Asian Mai. I'm sure you guys listen to Mother Truckers videos. Hear a lot of guys on his channel out in the West Coast. I don't know the answer. I'm definitely not saying that I do. I'm really just pointing out the notion. In my opinion, again, some of these arguments just don't meant that brokers are the problem. I've heard so many truck drivers say that. There's a lot of problems that exist in trucking, but brokers are the problem. Like, you might have to dial that argument in a little bit more to get it to make sense. To get it to make sense, because to me, like it is right now, it does not make sense. Now I want to move on to the next bullet point, okay? Because it's on the same subject, but I got two more bullet points I wanna cover, okay? There was a video that I watched. Some of you guys probably saw it. I'm gonna bring up a clip here on it in just 1 second if my phone will act right. There's a video on Asian Mai's channel that I saw a while ago, a few days ago. And I'm gonna pull up this video here real quick. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me. Let me find it. Okay. And this video is in reference to drivers, truckers, carriers. Know what's going on with my connection, man. My internet connection really sucks. It's affecting my live stream. But I'm gonna pull this video up real quick, family, if I can. Having real issues here with my internet. I don't know why. And if I can't pull a video up, then I can't. Oh well. All right, I ain't gonna worry about it. But there's a video on Asian Mai's channel. When I upload this video and after the live, I'll put the link to the video down in the description. So if you want to check it out, you can. But there's a gentleman on there talking about how he wants to boycott TQL. Okay, and he gives the whole story of how he used to do household goods, and he came into hauling general freight. I think he said, I want to say he said around 2010. I could be wrong about that. But what he did make known in the video was that he moved from household goods to general freight at a time when the market was up, when the freight rates were up. It sounded to me like, he saw an opportunity to make more money in general freight than he was making in household goods. And so he came in general freight. And again, it might not have been in 2010, but it was at a time that rates, trucking rates, freight rates were up. All right. So it gave me the impression that he saw an opportunity to make more money doing something else in trucking than what he was doing. And so he came into general freight. And the reason he wants to boycott TQL now is because he feels that this is offering loads that don't pay enough to drive carriers, right, to owners. And he's like, hey, we should boycott them, all right? And again, there's a lot of other drivers talking about boycotting different trucking companies, or different brokerages, I should say, as well. But when I watched that video, I hope you guys that are with me here right now have watched that video. What I'm about to say will have more context to you. But if you haven't watched the video, I'll leave the link to it in the description of this video. But a couple things that stood out to me in that video. Okay, the first thing that stood out to me in that video was the fact that it seemed. Now I don't know this gentleman's story. Okay, and if this gentleman that was in that video of Asian Mai's ever sees my video, please, he shouldn't take this as criticism. This is just I'm just a trucker, and I'm just giving you what I saw as a trucker, all right? So, one question that popped out at me as I, you know what? Enough is enough. Hang on one second. You know what? I'm even scared to unplug this mic, man, because if I do, I might lose this whole audio. I'm gonna risk it though, because this is sucking. Just hang on 1 second. I'm gonna move, all right? Just hang on 1 second. Gee whiz, man. All right. Man, this is awful. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if I can be heard. Let me know if audio is picking up. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can I be heard? Can I be heard? Can I be heard? I don't think anybody can hear me. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Mic check. Can anybody hear me?